Good morning and welcome members to the digital meeting of the Cabinet as Trustees of Blackwood Miners Institute, being held via Teams on Wednesday the 27th of October. The meeting will be recorded and made available to view on the Council's website, except for discussion involving confidential and exempt items. So without further ado, I'll start the agenda. Do we have any apologies? No, they'll be noted if there are any in the chat, I assume. I'll just quickly go through the declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and/or prejudicial interest in respect of any items of business on this agenda in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and a Code of Conduct for both members, councillors and officers. Does anyone have anything to declare? I'll take that as a no. Okay, so if we can move to item 3 on the agenda, which is to approve and sign the following minutes as our Cabinet meeting that was held on the 27th of January 2021. Boy, that seems a long time ago now. So I will note that obviously we've got 2 members of the Cabinet that weren't members of the Cabinet back then. So well, obviously they will abstain from this vote. And can I confirm that's okay, Rob Tranter, to do that?
Can you just repeat that again, leader? I only caught the last...
Sorry, I'm just conscious that both Councillor Pritchard and Councillor Whitcomb weren't Cabinet members, so would not have attended that meeting on the 27th of January.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah, sorry, leader. Yes, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. Because as when you move in at all minutes, you're voting on the accuracy of them. So clearly, if those members weren't there, they couldn't really comment on the accuracy of the minutes. So, correct. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, leader.
That's okay. Thanks, Rob. Okay, so we'll take them page by page. So page 1, page 2, and page 3. So are we all happy to accept those? If I can have a show of hands. I've got some nodding heads. Yep, brilliant. Thank you ever so much, those that were in attendance. So they are now signed and approved. OK, so we'll go to the next item of the agenda, which is to receive the Blackwood Miners Institute update report. And if I can go to Councillor Stenner, please.
Thank you, Leader. The report provides the Cabinet as trustees the opportunity to see the operational activity at Blackwood Miners Institute and the proposal to set up an advisory group for Blackwood Miners Institute. As we are all acutely aware, Blackwood Miners Institute has remained closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and this has severely impacted artistic output. In September 2021, Blackwood Miners Institute reopened its doors with a reduced season. Changes in legislation are being monitored closely and any adjustment will be actioned appropriately. The recommendations are shown at 3.1 and 3.2 of the report. However, I would like to move an amendment to the recommendations. At 3.1, could the recommendation read, consider and note the content of the report? I will not be moving 3.2 of the recommendation, but will be requesting that a further report is brought before us with further details on the establishment of an advisory group. I move.
Thank you ever so much, Councillor Stenner. And if I can go to, I've forgotten who's seconding, sorry. Councillor Cook.
Yeah, thanks, Leader. I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, can I ask if any of the officers, Anthony or Alan, would like to give some more detail around the report then, now that the item has been moved and seconded? Thank you.
If I can call upon Anthony just to give a brief update.
Thank you. Obviously noting that the removal of 3.2 is, that's fine. So in terms of how Blackwood Miners has performed during the past period since January. Clearly not a lot of activity in the first half of the year. For a lot, read 0. But we have done quite a lot of work in the communities during that period. So the arts development team has done quite a lot of work as indicated in the report. We've participated in the regeneration plans for Blackwood, which no doubt Alan can give further detail on. And We've also done other projects such as the Lovelocks project in Blackwood, which was highly successful and much reported in the local press and online. The programme for the autumn commenced in mid-September. It's a light programme of activity in the venue, basically to get people used to going out again. And I think it has been appreciated, and we've seen during the course of the events that we've had so far a slow but steady increase in the number of attendees and a gradual relaxing of people into the idea of being entertained, which is not something we've taken for granted. There are still events that are being impacted by COVID, so we can't assume that the effects of the virus have gone away, because we get constant reminders about it. So notably, an afternoon tea dance has recently been cancelled because 2 of the band members came down with the virus, and so we didn't have a show to put on. We're also noting that 4 of the 12 schools that have signed up to attend the Panto have pulled out. That means there are 8 that are still coming, but it shows really that the impact is not consistent either. We are progressing our plans to put a more intensive programme in place for the spring and summer and autumn of 2022. Those plans are ongoing at the moment, and some events will be published shortly. The other point to note in the report is the commitment to replace the outgoing marketing officer, and those plans will be progressed today. The reason it hasn't been progressed to date is that we're struggling with rather significantly reduced numbers of officers available to do the work at the moment. But for the ongoing future of Blackwood, I'm optimistic. I think that the venue's got a lot to offer, and that as people get used to being entertained, and maybe hopefully, fingers crossed, we collectively get the virus under control, then Blackwood Miners can be restored to its position as a premier venue in the valleys. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks ever so much, Anthony. Alan, I didn't know whether you wanted to come in on the regeneration side of the Bargoed bit that Anthony commented on before I take any questions.
Yeah, I will, and I'll add a little bit of value to the report as well, if that's okay, Chair. Yeah, the arts development team have been really active in this period, and they've been working with other staff in my regeneration team to look at the issues we have with empty properties in Bargoed. We're looking at meanwhile uses, sort of pop-up uses for those empty properties, and Dave Chamberlain and his team have been at the forefront of idea gathering as to opportunities for repurposing, reimagining some of that building stock in Bargoed. I think they've also been active in the wider community around people's health and well-being as well, and there are some really good links being drawn up with the local health board and people working in that field to bring people into the BMI, to offer them support, to offer them, a communication link with the wider community so they don't feel as isolated as maybe they do at present. And that's helping to drive footfall in the BMI. And it's something that we really want to look at and evolve as we go on. I think Anthony mentioned where we were with some of the appointments. What he failed to mention was that we have now appointed a new service manager. So Anthony, do you want to say a little bit about that appointment and how we're looking forward to that person taking a hold of the BMI and driving it forward?
Of course, thanks for the reminder. So the outgoing manager at the theatre and the arts service, Marina Newth, left us in the middle of this month, and just shortly before she left, we held interviews and hopefully have appointed her successor. I won't give too much detail at the moment because until she signs her new contract, I think we probably should minimize things, but we are optimistic that she will be in place early in the new year, and if members can trust us that the it was an exciting interview and a very refreshing and engaging candidate that won the selection process. But we'd love to introduce you to her as and when her appointment is confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you ever so much, Anthony. Yeah, thank you, and thanks for the timely update on that. That's really helpful. And I suppose, you know, we've got to understand we're still very much in the grips of a pandemic, as you've both just mentioned. You know, and it is what I said earlier. It's about confidence, isn't it? You know, with our constituents, it's the confidence levels about being out and being in big group areas. You know, that's going to take a while, isn't it, to come back? It absolutely will. So, you know, we're not alone, I'm sure. This is up and down the country, isn't it? And in fact, probably worldwide in many of these sort of arts provisions that we've got. But I just want to note, I was talking to someone the other day and said that the arts group were going to the TLC in Risca. I think the Kutch, is it? They're going to do some stuff with children for Halloween at the end of this week, which is really exciting to see as a half-term you know, activity, which is really exciting. And again, it's those links into the communities, isn't it? That's really, really fundamentally important for us. So thank you for that. Right, I've got a number of hands up. So if I go to Councillor Stenner first.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Haven't got a question, but I feel I must congratulate the officers and the staff at BMI for adjusting so quickly during the pandemic. The report outlines some of the activities that have been taking place, from virtual tours to outdoor events. So, you know, that really is excellent. And, you know, I really do thank you for all of the good work that you've been doing. At 5.9 of the report, it shows that Blackwood Miners Institute is developing strong working links and relationships with the local members and the town council, which is again really good work and excellent. But can my name be added to the meeting so that I can attend as well? That's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you ever so much, Councillor Stenner. Councillor Phipps.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. I was going to touch on the staffing changes, but Anthony, you've already described what was the efforts you're putting into that, to making sure that the institute is well managed. But going forward, is this a particular concern of yours that staff don't tend to stay at the BMI for long, please?
Just to reply, Leader, the outgoing manager was in post for nearly 7 years.
Oh, okay. I take it back.
I'm not sure how many years the marketing officer was in post, but it was certainly several years as well. Many of the staff have been around for far too long. Realistically, they've been in post and dedicated to their roles for a long time. Churn is not an issue.
Oh, so it's just a coincidence that they've seemed to have gone at the same time.
I think we've lost Anthony. He's frozen. Oh, you're coming back. You're intermittent.
Am I back? I was just going to say that the marketing officer had been on a sabbatical for nearly a year. So I think her departure was almost planned in a way. Not sure of the detail, but that's fact. Where you may have hinted at an issue is one common to hospitality generally. So if we're looking at where there are issues of churn of staff and skills, then it's front of house, front line, and that is an issue not just for Blackwood Miners, but for hospitality and tourism venues across the UK. There's a gap, an employment gap that's significant and of great concern. And that's something that we're doing quite a lot behind the scenes to try to address at the moment, because I've got staff shortages in each of the council's venues.
Thank you ever so much, Anthony. Alan, did you want to come back in in relation to what Councillor Phipps said, and then I'll bring Councillor Phipps back in?
Yeah, it was only to add to that conversation in terms of what we're looking to do for succession planning. Anthony has recently had a discussion with our colleagues who were driving forward the Kickstart programme, and is hoping to take a kickstart appointee for a 6-month period, which may lead to further employment opportunities for that person.
Thank you for that, Alan. Really helpful. Councillor Phipps?
Yeah, I'm pleased that Anthony mentioned front of house staff, because I haven't forgotten my offer to you, Anthony, and your acceptance to come and do a shift down at Bedworth Workman's Hall as a volunteer. So we'll have to get you booked in on one of our shifts.
That's recorded. Yeah, that's recorded now, Anthony. You're not going to be able to get out of that one. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, there's no further hands up then. So bearing in mind what we said at the outset in relation to the recommendation set out in the report, we will be considering and noting the content of the report. So and also we will be not accepting 3.2 until we have further reports. So I think what we'll do in that case, if that's okay, if we can set up a PDM type meeting to go through the details of that, so we can have a discussion, and then we'll bring it back to another date. I mean, you know, we can arrange for that date to happen fairly quickly if need be. Okay. So without further ado, then we will go to the vote on 3.1 only then, Emma. I know that's going to be difficult because, oh, have you just done it? Yep, thank you for amending that. Brilliant. Just wait for those to come through, and again, yeah, okay. All right, so that's unanimous, and thank you both, Anthony and Alan, for your time. And I think if we can just set up a time now, you can liaise with Councillor Stenner to get a date in the diary for us to discuss that in detail, 3.2 even, and we'll go from there. So thank you both for your time, and thank you to all the staff as well, because I know it will have been a difficult time for them, given the circumstances that we've had to operate in. Mark S., did you want to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Leader. Just in terms of the update on the group recommendation 3.2, we will be due to come back to Cabinet with another BMI report in January. So that would seem an opportune time to come back with that detail as well. Okay?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, Mark. That's fine. Thank you very much. Okay. So thank you one and all. And again, as you can pass on our thanks as well as a Cabinet, you know, to all the staff at the BMI, because as I said, it has been a difficult and testing time. So if you can pass on our thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks, Leader.
Yeah, great. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And there ends the meeting. So thank you one and all.